April 6, 1968. On that night, exactly 15 years ago, Pierre Trudeau became leader of the Liberal Party, and a new era in Canadian politics began. Like most new leaders, Trudeau had a honeymoon period with the reporters who cover him. But today, 15 years later, relations are at an all-time low. In fact, Trudeau's virtually boycotting the media. Tonight, David Halton has a special report on the Prime Minister's new Cold War.
Prime Minister, can we have a brief assessment of the results of the conference? For the past few months, with almost no exception, Prime Minister Trudeau has systematically refused to talk to reporters. Any reporter, anywhere. The boycott is the culmination of more than a decade of often sour relations with the media, in which Trudeau never made any secret of his contempt for reporters.
You can stick it where you want, what I said. People don't believe anymore what they read in the newspapers or see on the television.
But until recently, whatever his feelings towards the media, Trudeau was no less accessible to them than many other Western leaders. That access used to be mainly through the so-called scrum, brief encounters in corridors or on the move.
I didn't push you, I did not push you, you pushed me. Don't push you again.
But after a notorious shoving incident with a reporter 7 years ago, Trudeau committed himself to holding weekly news conferences in Ottawa during parliamentary sessions. The commitment came in a letter from the Prime Minister's office to the Parliamentary Press Gallery dated December 1976. The letter pledged our common adherence to the principle of access and spoke of Trudeau's belief that in news conferences, developments and issues of the day can be more systematically examined than is the case at present. On balance, not always, that aim was achieved in the regular news conferences that followed, which often produced fuller answers than those Trudeau gave across the road in the partisan atmosphere of Parliament's question period. There were memorable statements.
The chances of Western separatism are absolutely nil and inexistent.
Often useful clarifications of shifting government policies, sometimes even an admission by Trudeau that he made misleading public statements.
Well, you really got me there. I can't contradict you.
But since 1980, there have been fewer and fewer news conferences, and since December, none at all in the usual forum. The Prime Minister's aides say the reason is Trudeau's fury over the reporting of his Southeast Asian tour in January. During the trip, the media accompanying him gave a perhaps disproportionate amount of coverage to his time off and pressed him into making a statement he later regretted.
If I were in Canada now, I'd probably be just ending about a week skiing, which everybody else is doing if they're not down somewhere in the Caribbean.
With the resulting suspension of the regular news conference, reporters have now gone back to trying to scrum Trudeau, only to get the brush off, or at best a sarcastic put-down.
We're really here for a vacation.
But far more important than any sore feelings among the media is whether the public is losing by the boycott.
I think they are losing because I think we're not getting the normal monitor checking on what the Prime Minister and other leading members of the government are saying in the House.
The Prime Minister is clearly the most important man to talk to when you want to know what exactly government policy is on that. So as long as he's staying away from us, we'll never have, from our point of view, we'll never have a really clear idea of his position.
A much stronger reaction has come from opposition leaders who are accusing Trudeau of violating a tradition of media access to the Prime Minister going back to the days of Saint Laurent.
He's too damned arrogant. He's uncaring. He regards Parliament as a nuisance. And I suppose he regards you fellows as a nuisance too.
It is a consequence of his own sort of arrogant attitude that he doesn't seem to feel that he has this obligation that is incumbent on all leaders in almost every nation.
Well, for the record, the Prime Minister's staff are saying the media boycott may not last much longer. But in the meantime, at least one of the PM's top advisors is quite happy with the boycott, arguing privately that when Trudeau has opened his mouth to the media over the past year, he's been all too prone to put his foot in it. David Halton, CBC News, Ottawa.